स्मिता मीटिंग लाइव है अभी। हेलो।
आवाज येतोय का माझा?
हो येस येतोय.
Yes, okay. Hello everyone. Very good evening to all of you. This is Smita here from Eklavya side, and today this session is about CTARA, which is the independent center of IIT Bombay. And CTARA basically stand for Center of Technology Alternatives for Rural India. And today from CTARA sides, we have a STU of CTARA, IIT Bombay's Anand sir. I welcome you, sir, and all the participants who have joined here. Thank you and welcome you all. Over to you, sir.
Namaskar. So, thanks a lot for this opportunity. I suppose I can speak for about 15-20 minutes and give you some background about what CTARA is and what our center is. Let's try to share my screen. Is the screen visible?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So, as Smita already told, CTARA is a center independent academic center within IIT Bombay. It stands for Center for Technology Alternatives for Rural Areas. So CTARA. So उसका acronym हम लोग हिंदी में CTARA ऐसे मतलब CTARA also has some meaning in Hindi, so we use it that way. So that has been there for quite some time in IIT Bombay. So it was established back in 1984-85. Earlier, it was mainly only a research center, and we started our academic programs in 2007. So, by the way, for those of you who have not been to IIT campus yet, this is how the campus looks like from a nearby hill. So this is like a small green oasis in the city of Mumbai, which is located between two lakes, Powai Lake and Bihar Lake. So this is a brief journey of CTARA. So as I mentioned, this started in 1985, but even before that, there has been a unit that was functional called Appropriate Technology Unit at IIT Bombay. It was like a group of like-minded faculty members who were interested in looking at social problems and how technology can play a role in addressing those things. And there were faculty members across various disciplines who came together and formed this. But CTARA formally got formed in 1985. So, and then that journey began, and then we had initially only research projects in this. One of the major large projects was like a KVIC interface project. So KVIC is Khadi and Village Industries Commission. So under this project, some labs and workshops were installed in IIT campus, which were looking at issues related to technology interventions for small scale industries. And then the M.Tech program, that is a Masters in Technology program, which is a full 2-year postgraduate program that was launched in 2007. It was followed by PhD program also. And so that means in 2009, we had our first batch of students who graduated. And then we celebrated our silver jubilee in 2010. So that was a 2-day program that we had, and a lot of deliberations about how CTARA can grow that happened. Occasionally, we have been also having some international visitors. There are student interns, so there are exchange students. And then we also had like visiting fellows from various countries. In 2014, we started a new phase in our M.Tech program where we also started getting fellowships to support the existing pool of students. So different agencies, including Ministry of Rural Development, and under the CSR of HL, Hindustan Aeronautics, that time we got some fellowships. And since then, every year, different agencies, both from non-governmental and NGO and then governmental agencies, we are getting some fellowships to support the M.Tech students. Over the years, we have also initiated a program called District Development Dialogue, where we try to bring all the stakeholders in the development process on one platform, like the district magistrate, various NGOs, the CSRs who are interested in supporting some development initiatives, and the academics like IITs who can study certain problems and provide some technical solutions. So all of them can come together, and then some fruitful brainstorming can happen. So that has been initiated. So this is the kind of a brief journey of CTARA. So just as I mentioned earlier, CTARA is a independent academic unit within IIT Bombay, but also I should admit that it's a very small unit within IIT Bombay. So just to give an idea, IIT has about 700 faculty members, where out of that CTARA has only 10 faculty members. So you can get an idea about how small we are within this ocean of knowledge. However, CTARA has a very unique place in IIT system. Our niche is in the kind of interdisciplinary work that happens in CTARA. And then we try to build bridges across different disciplines. And also there is a lot of emphasis on interactions with various stakeholders, and that too mainly the non-governmental organizations, the self-help groups, the Panchayati Raj institutions. So that is the main body of stakeholders that we typically try to engage with. And the focus has been basically on the what we call as bottom 80% of the society. So the commons and then the basically unorganized sectors. So that has been the focus area that we typically deal with. And our approach has been in terms of looking at how the experiential learning can make a big role in the engineering education. So this is something that has been tried out in various ways. And then most of the research that happens is demand driven or user defined. So we give a lot of importance to have direct engagement of the stakeholders in any kind of a development work that happens in terms of the defining a technology solution. So just to give a backdrop, I mean, today we know that India has been burdened with a lot of problems of variety of kinds, and the kind of development paradigm that we follow is basically built on three pillars: industrialization, urbanization, and consumption. So these are the three mantras which are giving direction to this unidirectional flow of resources. And that is how our development is shaping up. And what it is leading to, as we see, I mean, we are achieving some rapid economic growth. However, it is at cost of some other externalities. So we see that there is a lot of disparity that is increasing across different sections of the society, and especially what we call as the urban areas, which are India, whereas the rural areas, which are mostly Bharat. So this gap between India and Bharat is increasing rapidly. And it is a very grim sight that many of the villages, they are dying. I mean, most of the working population, many times we see that they have left the village, and village only has only old people and maybe sometimes only small children. And the working population is migrated to some nearby urban areas. So that is the kind of a status of villages, whereas the cities are so overburdened that it is very difficult to cope up with the basic requirement of amenities and facilities in city or urban areas. And whatever way we try to provide facilities in these regions, whatever we build in terms of infrastructure, it is not going to be enough anytime, because the influx from rural to urban area is so high. In all this backdrop, we would like to see what is the relevance of education, and especially higher education and research that happens in places like IITs, which are considered to be institutes of eminence. which are elite institutes. And we would like to emphasize that these institutes have a major role to play as knowledge partner in terms of providing, at least studying the problems and try to provide solutions to whatever society is going through. So we would like to also try to see the aspects related to technology and linkages with the development. So the first and foremost, we may also want to pause and say whether technology is part of the solution or part of the problem. We always take it for granted that technology is going to solve all the problems, but that may not be always true. And we have to also understand what are the negative externalities of technology. And maybe some of the problems that we see in the society are actually originating from some technical intervention that we did not have enough foresight in terms of developing those solutions and implementing those. So that's why it is a dire need today that we should have trained professionals who can work on the interface between technology and development. So this "and" is very, very important. So the word that "and" that connects technology and development, we give a lot of emphasis on. So the specialization that we came up with in terms of the M.Tech program, it is called M.Tech in technology and development. So it is not specialization in technology development. It is that "and" is very important, that they should understand both the aspects of this problem. So this whole approach that we are following in CTARA, which connects technology with development, obviously it gives a lot of importance to interdisciplinarity, because no problems comes as a disciplinary problem. Any societal problem that you see, they will have different aspects of that problem. And that's why many times it is required that experts from various domains, they look at it and come together and try to find a solution. So more and more what is required today is an interdisciplinary approach, or sometimes it may be even transdisciplinary approach. So no single discipline may be able to tackle any particular issue. And then what is our concern is basically, as I mentioned, the marginalized and underprivileged sections of the society. And externalities of technology, that is also another important focus area. And then we emphasize on experiential learning, as I mentioned. And so although we are a small group of 10 odd faculty members, so we are all dispersed or having diverse backgrounds in different areas. And that's why we try to cover different core areas like energy, water, agriculture, soils, food processing, nutrition, infrastructure, and so on and so forth. And sometimes we also try to involve the local institutions, like for example, local engineering colleges in terms of doing some handholding and try to see how we can work together on some of the regional and local issues. So just to give an idea, this is like the kind of a picture in terms of our different research areas that are covered in CTARA. And apart from our own faculty, we also have associated faculty, we also have adjunct faculty, and then many other faculty from other departments also we always collaborate with, and then try to see how that synergy can be helped. So today we have about 50 to 60 M.Tech students and similar number PhD students as well. I'll talk about the academic program in detail in a few minutes, but just to give an idea, it is a 2-year full-time program, and it has a variety of coursework as well as project work. And then the students who have been graduating from this program are having different types of career pathways, including working with government as well as non-governmental sector. Nowadays, CSR in industry is coming up as a big opportunity for career pathway for those who are trained on this kind of a career pathway, like those who understand the development realities, and then they also understand the technical or technology capabilities. That is the kind of a uniqueness of the students who are graduating from our program. Some of them are trying to initiate their own activities. They have taken up entrepreneurship and they have been successful in that as well. So depending on the interest that the student has, the background they have, they can choose what they want to do. So I'll discuss this when I talk about the academic program, but this is one of the unique feature of our M.Tech program, that the students have to spend 9 weeks or about 2 months in a village. They stay in a rural household and then they try to understand the rural dynamics, rural system, try to understand the resource and need and technology linkages within the specific context of the village that is studying. They go in a summer and then they come back in when the monsoon begins. So about July, May to July is the typical time frame in which they have to undertake this. Are there any questions at this time? So I have been like, it has been a monologue. So I would like to pause and see if there are any questions.
They can post in chat box as well.
Okay.
So we can take it at the end of the session.
Okay. So should I continue?
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Okay. So this is just to give you a glimpse of or some more details about the academic program. As Smita told, there are some undergraduate and postgraduate students here. So this is just to give you some more details about what the M.Tech program is all about. So to begin with, about the objective of the M.Tech program. So as it mentions, there are 3 important objectives that we had in mind when we launched this program. Is there a question? Okay.
I have muted them, sir.
Okay. So the first one, as I mentioned earlier, the whole objective is to train professionals to work in this diverse field and having different types of roles to work at the interface between technology and development. So we need to train people who can do that. And that's why we start with engineers. So most of the students who enter our program, they have a degree in engineering, any type of engineering, or they may be MSc, that is postgraduates in science. So the basic qualification for our M.Tech program is either BE, B.Tech or MSc. And then when they come with this science and technology background, we try to train them how to, we try to sensitize them to the larger needs of the society. And with that social orientation, then they can try to work this interface between technology and development. So that is our approach. Also, to provide through both the coursework and the fieldwork, perspectives and skills. So both these are very, very important, which are necessary for resource-based, region-specific technology planning and implementation. So during their coursework, they have both perspective types of courses and then also some of the courses which give them a kitty of skills which can be used in the field. And finally, to impart training in research and analysis tools to help develop competence in use of quantitative and qualitative methods. So both of these are required today. And that is what we ensure that the students are well trained in variety of these. So we started in 2007, as I mentioned, and roughly we get about 1,000 applications every year. It has gone up over the years. So we started with just a batch of 10 students in the first year in 2007. We had only 10 students. Today, now we have about 25 to 30 students per batch. So as I mentioned, with the numerous fellowships that we have received over the year, and also IIT has also given us a larger pool of TA-ships or the Ministry of Education supported fellowships. So the number has got increased over the period of time. Of course, there is a challenge that the single classroom has students from variety of branches. So typically we jokingly say that we have students from A to Z background. That means aeronautics, B for biotechnology, C for chemical or civil engineering, and so on and so forth, electrical engineers, electronics engineers, instrumentation. So we get students from all these different backgrounds. So, and then it is sometimes a challenge to talk to such a group of students who have such a diverse set of backgrounds. Over the years, we have figured out how to do that communication, and then it has been, but still sometimes we face some issues in terms of getting students aligned to the program. Then there is this, as I mentioned, there is a lot of importance given to the field work, which is a very distinct feature of this program. And every course, in fact, has a mandatory field visit apart from this 9 weeks rural stay that we have. And most of the M.Tech projects or the final thesis that they do, it also has some kind of a field orientation where they spend substantial time understanding the problem as well as trying out the solutions in the field. That is the kind of orientation of the project. So just to give further details about the program. So as I mentioned, so there is a variety of coursework that is involved in the M.Tech program. So there are 4 types of courses. One is one set of component in this coursework is for laying the foundation of the program. And that basically has different types of courses. One is which builds the perspectives of the students about the development, about technology, about the what is appropriate technology, what is the linkage between technology and society and development. So that kind of a approach is very, very important. Secondly, there are sectoral or information related courses related to energy, water, agriculture, because within the engineering coursework that they have done, they may not have got introduced to any of these specifically. So that is also important. Then there are skills and methods based courses. So social science research methods is one example. They do sometimes like system dynamics is a specific tool. Qualitative and quantitative methods, statistics. So these are some of the skills and methods that they learn. And then there are some contemporary issues. Depending on their interest, they may look at malnutrition as a problem, and there can be a course on that. CSR or SDGs nowadays, that is a very important buzzword. So they may pick up some of these things through such courses. Then second component of the course structure is understanding the ground reality, and that happens through this 9 weeks field stay in a rural area where they spend so it is like field work on one region and one sector. So they try to understand this particular region or the village and focus on one specific problem in that context. Then to build in some kind of a flexibility, we have provision where they can do some elective courses. It may be within CTARA as well as across institute also they can do some coursework. And then finally they have to do project work, which is an independent project. Depending on their interest, they can select it. So this is just to pictorially just to show the structure of the program, and these are the types of courses as I mentioned. These are some of the sample titles of the courses that they do. There is a course on development theory. There is a course on technology, society and development. There is a course on public policy and governance. So all these are kind of perspective courses. And similarly, there are skill courses. There is a course on project management and analysis, for example. So this is the kind of a semester-wise structure of the program. I have already described it. So the summer field work is after they complete the coursework in the 2 semesters, they spend the summer in a village and come back and complete the 3rd semester and then do the project. I have already talked about the summer field work. And so then in terms of the project work, yes, the summer field work includes a project, which is more of an exploratory nature. And then there is a M.Tech project 1 and 2, which is basically the thesis work that they do. The project areas may be across different domains, including technology or policy or in general development related topic. And it is up to the interest of the student what they want to work on, and they can select the topic accordingly. So I think with this brief introduction, I would like to know if there are any questions about this.
This space is open for questions, so participant can ask here. Otherwise, you can put in chat box as well. Sir, I would like to know about the daily structure of the course. Daily structure of the course, like lectures and all. Daily structure of the course, like lectures and all.
Are you talking about the routine of the students?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. So IIT has a slot pattern. So depending on the courses, I mean, if in a semester there are 6 courses, so each course has 3 lecture hours. Okay. So if you're doing 6 courses, that means in a week, you will have 6 into 3, that means only 18 lecture hours. So it may feel that that is not much because on daily, on average, you will get about 4 hours of lecture time. But typically for every course, we expect that the students do 100 hours of individual assignments and own self-study. So there is a lot of expectations from the students so that they come prepared for the classes. There are surprise quizzes. There are lots of assignments that are given to them when they go back to their hostels. So when you are doing 5 or 6 courses, you are pretty busy. So that's why it is like a full-time program.
Okay.
But the normal lecture hours in IIT system, they start at 8:30 in the morning, and there are time slots which go all the way to 8 p.m. So depending on the timetable, you may have lecture hours during any time of the day. 12:30 to 2 o'clock is a lunch time. So there are no lectures which are scheduled during that time, but otherwise there can be classes throughout morning or evening.
Sir, in chat box, Vishnu asked that what about humanity studies in IIT? Is there in courses?
Yeah, there is a separate department called Humanities and Social Sciences. So HSS is a separate department. In fact, it is consisting of 7 or 8 different disciplines within that, like economics, sociology, psychology, history. Uh, Within HSS, there are all these different disciplines are covered. They have their own currently. They have their PhD program. They used to run a MPhil program, MPhil in development planning, but probably they are going to stop that now. But they have initiated some undergraduate programs as well, like BS in economics, for example. That entry is through the joint entrance exam, JEE.
Any other questions from participants?
So the admission to the M.Tech program, maybe I'll just take 2 minutes to tell you about. So as I said, we have now about 25 to 30 seats. So most of these seats are filled through GATE qualified candidates. So since all the candidates are either BTech or MSc, they can take GATE in their respective disciplines or any discipline of their choice. So we have not particularly hung up in terms of this is the specific discipline in which they have to take GATE. They can take GATE in any discipline. As long as they are GATE qualified, they are eligible for our M.Tech program. So there is the admission process. So currently the application process is going on right now. In fact, up to April 10th or 11th, the applications are open. And you can fill in the application form if you have a valid GATE score. And then there is, after we receive the applications, there is some initial screening. And then typically there is a written test that is conducted. And then based on that, we shortlist candidates for 2 rounds of interviews. So there is a first round of interview. Within that, again, we do the screening. Then there is a second round of interview. And then offers are made. So it is pretty competitive in terms of, because as I mentioned, we get typically more than 1,000 applicants. And then finally, we have to make about 25 offers. So this is one mode of admission. In addition to this GATE-based admissions, so we also have a parallel route of M.Tech admission that is called sponsored candidate. Okay, so if somebody has already worked in the field for more than 2 years, so that experience of working in the field, relevant field, like in development sector with the NGOs or any kind of such development intervention, or even in the government agencies which are working for the development. So this 2-year experience can be taken in lieu of the GATE score. So then these candidates don't have to be GATE qualified. They can apply for our program under the non-GATE category. And of course, with the valid experience certificate of 2 years. In that case, I mean, there are 5 seats that are kept for these non-GATE candidates. And so typically they require only the, they don't get any funding from the institute. No fellowship is available. So if they get sponsored from their own agencies or they are able to arrange their own funds to support themselves for 2 years of program, then that is also another way to enter into the M.Tech program. And every year we do get few fellows who join our M.Tech program in that mode as well. And then in PhD, there are 10 or 11 categories in which you can join a PhD program. So it may range from part-time to full-time with no funding, that is a self-funded to fully funded through government fellowship. So please look at the IIT Bombay admissions website, which will give you many more details about both the M.Tech and PhD admissions, which are currently ongoing right now. So the admissions portal will close on, I think, 11th of April. So if you are eligible for applying, I'll encourage you to look at the application process at least, and then make up your mind whether you want to apply.
Sir, can you talk about the fellowship as well?
Fellowship?
Fellowships. Yeah, fellowship structure.
Okay, so as I mentioned, all the gate qualified candidates who enter our program, and there are about 20 odd seats for these gate qualified candidates. So every month they get 12,400 as a monthly stipend as a gate scholarship. So they are expected to work as teaching assistants. So it is like 8 hours per week they have to work as TAs. And then from Government of India, Minister of Education, they get this monthly stipend. And also concessional tuition fees as well as hostel accommodation. So these are all available for the TA category full-time candidates. Apart from that, as I mentioned, there are several agencies which have installed some fellowships in our center. Like UNICEF has given some fellowship, Ministry of Rural Development has given some fellowship. So these fellowships are at par with these GATE fellowship only in the first year. In the second year, the fellowship amount is slightly enhanced to about 15 to 16,000 per month. And some of these fellowship programs also has a provision, like for example, UNICEF and MORD, that 1 year after the graduation from M.Tech program, they work with these funding agencies. For example, the Ministry of Rural Development, the MORD fellows, they work in Delhi with the line ministries, and they are given enhanced stipend like 60,000 per month. And that experience of working 1 year with the government is very, very helpful, and then they can launch themselves, or they can find further opportunities, or they can come back to IIT Bombay for the regular campus placement as well. So we have made this provision that those who are getting this fellowship for the third year, which is like after graduating from the M.Tech program, they can also sit for campus placement, and then if required, they can use that avenue to find the further career opportunities. In addition to that, we also have now annually, we organize an event called Development Dialogue, where we also try to invite various agencies from development sector, the non-governmental organizations, the CSRs of various companies, so that rather than going through the conventional company placements that IIT offers, which is mostly very conventional in the sense the most attractive packages are coming from IT sector, the finance sector, and so on and so forth. So the training that the students have received in CTARA is not that relevant at all. So in order to avoid attrition of our students from the development sector, we are trying to reach out to these different agencies which can meaningfully employ them in the development sector, and try to organize this meet before the conventional placement, so that the students get assurance that they are getting some placement within the development sector itself. And day by day, they are also getting attractive packages in this development sector as
Okay. Thank you, sir. Kshitija want to know about the fees and all.
Fees structure. Okay, so fees, I think you can go to the website and find out. So currently the fees are pretty nominal as compared to any other professional programs. In fact, currently even the B.Tech program has much higher fees as compared to the M.Tech program. However, we have been told that it is being under revision. So it is likely that the M.Tech fees will also go up in the coming year or two. It was proposed last year itself, but because of the COVID pandemic, they reconsidered the decision, and then they had paused that decision. But it is likely that the fee structure may get revised, and it may be of the order of about 1 lakh or 2 lakh per year. So,
Any other questions from participants? You can unmute yourself and then ask. Okay, I think no one have questions because you already pretty much cleared everything. Thank you, sir, joining for us today.
thank you. It was my pleasure to be here, and then I hope it inspires some of you to look
Yes,
at
yes,
this
definitely.
possible career option, and then see you later. Thank you so much.
Yes. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.